Welcome back to Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth, welcoming an artist. I'm talking about a real artist, not a singer, not a rapper. I'm talking about someone who takes an empty canvas and makes art, or someone who takes, anything to create. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Mr. LaMonte French. I said that right?
It's Lamont.
I see the accent.
Yeah,
so I thought it was the Tay.
No. That's just how my mom spelled it.
Oh, so, Lamont French.
Yeah, it's the E silent. So.
Well, welcome to the program, sir.
I appreciate it. Definitely.
Oh man, but you're doing something with the Boys and Girls Club. A special art tutorial.
Yeah, this Wednesday.
The
At
25th.
4:30.
Okay.
And it's gonna touch bases on a lot of things as far as art and what art can be, because people don't really understand that. The type of art that I do is abstract expressionism. So I can take pretty much anything that I find anywhere and make something out of it. My biggest muse is probably the American flag. So, I like to take a certain image that we look at as something being extremely simple and giving it a deeper meaning. So I may take an image and I know what you're going to see, but the meaning behind it is something totally different. So it's like it kind of draws you in. So what we're going to do, what I'm going to do with the kids on Wednesday is we're going to create a ransom note. Okay. And we'll take a large sheet of paper and we're going to draw it out just like a ransom note. We're going to cut out letters from magazines and words from newspapers and things like that. And it's going to tell a message, whatever message they want to convey, whether it be to their parents, whether it be about their self-image, whether it be empowering themselves, whether it be about their favorite musician, or just anything in general. Food, candy, it doesn't matter, but they're going to make a ransom note. And it's taking an image like that, something with maybe a negative connotation, and it's representing holding hostage something that you believe in or a message that you're trying to convey.
Oh, snap.
So that's what we're trying to push, just to the youth as far as art. Art can be anything. It can be how you wake up and you get dressed to go to school in the morning. Excuse me. Or, how you pour your bowl of cereal. It can be pretty much how you, the accents that you put on your cell phone. It can be anything that your mind is just creating. Yeah. And what I want the youth to understand is that you can push your mind as far as you can. You can take a word like dissertation, something as simple as that, and dive deeper into what it means. Where does it come from? How can you use it in a sentence on a day-to-day basis and make it make sense to where you can convey, but just that simple word, and it's given me 45 seconds worth of talk time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So something as simple as that. And then what I want to convey to the parents or to adults that are molding these kids is that if your child is creative, or if they have a mind that kind of thinks out of the box at a young age, tap into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to teach them that, you got to go get a 9-to-5 job. This is, and go pay bills, come home, go to sleep. That's traditional. That's the traditional way, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with pushing that. But also,
it's 2018 also.
Exactly. And these kids, it's the era of social media and television and reality TV. Unfortunately, but it is what it is. But these are the things that influence people. This is their content. This is the content that we are instilling in the kids. So teach them to broaden their minds and try to take whatever is going on, whether it be politics, whether it be, reality, fantasy, quote unquote, just take that and give it some meaning to where you can express yourself.
Indeed.
So
you're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to LaMonte French, who is going to do a special art tutorial for the kids at the Boys and Girls Club on a Wednesday, April the 25th. 4:30. That's 815 Crosby Street. So I'm glad that you mentioned social media and and all of that. With all of the smartphones that we have and these incredible cameras that are on these phones, I'm wondering what is art today? Because there are so many ways that people can express themselves, and
Yes.
it doesn't necessarily have to be, on a canvas or sculpting or any of that, like just, picture collages. So you being in the arts community and in the art world, like what are some of the unique pieces and projects that you're seeing that people are thinking or kids are thinking outside the box to create?
Just, one of the biggest things, I was a teacher for 5 years, and one of the biggest things that I noticed was the fashion. Just the kids and how they push the envelope. I saw a kid, he made a backpack out of a cereal box and some yarn.
Wow.
And he had a different one every single day to where he started selling them.
Shut up.
And he would and sometimes he would distort it and turn the cereal box upside down, and that would be how you would carry the backpack, and he customized them to, for everyone's need.
Wow.
To whereas I've had an opportunity to do some work with Vans through another artist friend of mine, Donkey Boy, and just with the culture being what it is, as far as music and it pushing fashion, that's probably the biggest place where I see art coming about, where the collabs come and play with the painters and the fashion designers. Whereas like you see, Diddy has took Sean John and they've linked up with Basquiat's estate, and now they're doing they're doing a denim line that's pretty dope.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Is it out already?
Yeah. Some of it out. Yeah, he has one of the jackets has the king dinosaur that that Basquiat did.
Dang, I'm gonna have to check that out. I love Sean John.
So just and then using raw materials. I see a lot of artists that use raw materials, things that you could just find in a junkyard or just around the neighborhood. So it's so many different types of artists in the world today. It's not like back when in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s, when art had just boomed in New York. That's when you had your Andy Warhols, Keith Haring, Julian Schnabel, Jean-Michel Basquiat. But the thing is, they didn't have social media. They just had those outlets to where there were exhibits and they were pushing the culture.
And it was kind of more underground.
Right. Just like the guy who created Obey, he has a documentary. His first name's Shepard. They call him the Obey Giant, and he just took a normal sticker and put it all over South Carolina, and just plastered and plastered and plastered and plastered. That was his marketing, because social media wasn't really that big when he first came out, but he was just making a mark. So now in the day of social media, you can just upload an account through Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or whatnot,
and get it popping.
Yeah. Now the downside of that is sometimes personal things, they kind of leak over into
to somewhere else, and then you see your stuff on a national scene, on a national level, and you're like, wait a minute.
Exactly, and people have to understand, as an artist, this is our business. Right. You know what I mean? So this is how we
make money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
you listen to Access Houston. We've got Houston artist LaMonte French is here. He's going to do a special take-home project for these kids at the Boys and Girls Club. An art tutorial. It sounds like it's going to be absolutely incredible. How did you get into art and creating? What was the catalyst that sparked that, like, yo, this is what I want to do, or let me try this, and then it ended up being something?
I've always been a creative kid. Since I was little, I would get in trouble a lot and kind of get sent to my room. So I'd be in my room and I had to figure out, how to keep myself occupied. But as far as
only child or
no, I have I have a brother and a sister, little brother and a sister, oldest of 3. But my dad was a high profile athlete in the 80s, and as I got older, I became kind of a high profile athlete around the city of Houston, and when I went to college and so on and so forth. So to get away from the stresses of like the media and the pressures of,
football, you look like you played
I played football. Of, living up to, my dad's name and things like that. That was my creative outlet to where I could go away from, you know, what
everything
else. Yeah, it's almost like you know, a de-stressor or whatnot. You know, so that was my de-stressor. And you know, I tell people, you know, I'm about to be 37 years old, and I just became a professional artist 4 years ago. But I've always been an artist, but to be a professional artist, there's a certain discipline that you have to have. Now, these ideas that I come up with and the content I had 10 years ago, but I didn't have the discipline. You know, and when I say discipline, that's financially, you know, because you have to buy materials in order to make your work. Also time, you know, sometimes I'm in the studio for 9 hours straight, sometimes 2 days straight. You know, and also self-discipline within myself to know when to step away from the canvas and when to touch it, what to do, what's, you know, how to kind of conceptualize certain things at, you know, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I just didn't have that type of mental discipline. You know, I was just, you know, running around and having fun and things like that. But, you know, now I'm a father, and, you know, I've been a husband, and just my focus is a lot different. But the biggest thing why I decided to actually take it serious was for my kids and my legacy. Because what people in our community have to understand is art never depreciates. Never. It only appreciates.
Yes.
So
I want some artwork for 1 million. 2 years later, 2 million.
Exactly. And that's the truth. And the thing is, when an artist dies, the value of the art, it skyrockets. So I don't make prints. All my pieces are one of ones.
Nice.
Because it holds the value. So when I leave this earth, my kids will benefit off of what I'm leaving behind through my work. And not only monetarily, but they can sit and look at this work. They can look at my journals, and they can have a piece of my mind. They can actually, it's almost like I'm talking to them when I'm not here. So that really was the biggest reason why I said, okay, I got to leave my kids something to remember me as, okay, because that's what my dad did for me. You know, I can go and Google my dad, you know, I can go around and say my name, and people know exactly who my dad is. So, you know, and that also was a big influence, and it kind of geared me in that direction to where I had to really think about what was I going to leave for my kids and leave behind them. And I sit them down and, you know, and explain to them what art is. My daughter, she tries to duplicate every piece that I have. And sometimes where she takes it, it blows my mind. You know, she may take that concept and then put her own twist to it. And it just blows my mind that a 9-year-old can actually conceptualize like that.
Well, clearly she's got it honest. I mean, so what do you expect? That gene is probably super duper strong. You know? So that's dope. You listen to Access Houston talking to LaMonte French, who is going to be at the Boys and Girls Club on Wednesday, 4:30. The Boys and Girls Club on Crosby Street here in Houston. And he'll be giving a special art tutorial for the kids. So parents, if you're interested in having your kids show up, which you absolutely should, if you have some old magazines or
newspapers, books that you don't want anymore, just anything with pictures and words in them. That's all they need.
That's all they need.
Yeah, and some construction paper, you know.
It's going to be dope. Am I in town? I am here. So I want to check that out.
Please do. Please do.
What is your social media? Let some people follow you, you know. Check out your work. And
at French LaMonte. You can go to Instagram.
Buy some stuff.
Yeah, definitely buy some stuff.
You know,
you can go to Instagram at French LaMonte. French is FRENCH LAMONTE. At French LaMonte. That's my Instagram. Facebook page, LaMonte French. And yeah, you can see pretty much not all my work, but a majority of the pieces, and just a few things that, you know, you can catch me in the studio and kind of vibing out or whatnot.
I see the van stuff.
Yeah, you can see the van stuff, and you can also see other things that I've had with other artists.
I see your American flags.
Yeah.
Those are dope.
Yeah, that's my biggest muse. So, you know, and it plays an integral part to my creative derivative, because whenever I hit that, I call it a artist block. Some music writers have writer's block, but I always go back to the American flag because I can pretty much create whatever I want on that canvas, and it represents so much. So,
wow, LaMonte French, check him out. These are some dope pieces. Let me go ahead and hit follow.
Yeah, please do.
So parents, get ready. Wednesday, the 25th at the Boys and Girls Club, 815 Crosby Street here in Houston. LaMonte is going to do this art tutorial that's going to be focusing on creating abstract art with everyday items. So bring the old magazines and newspapers and anything with words and pictures, and get ready for the kids to create. This is a dope concept.
Thank you.
So nice to meet you, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate your time, and from guys like yourself, as well as other people that push the culture of art. As painters, I think we kind of, we get the last bit as far as artists. You have your musicians, you have your
in my mind, you all are the first artists.
But it's all under the same genre. You know what I mean? So I thank anybody pushing the culture. So thank you for this opportunity and this time to just speak about it.
Oh man, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and thank you for listening to Access Houston.